Florida's newest and best in radio, Sunshine Radio 96.7 FM.
American Veterans Alliance, WVET, onlineradio.com. This is Keith, the boss of the beach, WVET onlineradio.com, and we're broadcasting right here, Radio St. Pete. We know you love us, and don't forget that we're here every Thursday afternoon, 12:30, 12:35, and of course on Saturdays, 8:30 in the morning. Rise and shine, of course, with the best in radio. And I want to say that our subject today is Operation Project Veterans. I've always worked closely with Pinellas County, and Pinellas County has a great veterans program here. We always support them 100%, along with both of our VA hospitals. St. Pete Vet Center, keeping the promise. Department of Veterans Affairs readjustment counseling services are available for all of our veterans returning in from all of the wars, and especially right now with the returning of our soldiers there from Afghanistan, except for 13. And we send out a special prayer for the families of those 13 that lost their lives, helping evacuate Americans and those who supported us in that war. We want to give a special shout out to all of our veterans helping out in that Hurricane Ida that came through. And of course, they're down there in New Orleans and in Texas and in Huntsville, Alabama, and in Kentucky and all the way up the coast. We hope it doesn't get all the way to New York, but they say it's going. We thank those soldiers for going down and that are still there helping rebuild that New Orleans area. One more time, it is ironic that Katrina was the same date as Ida. Now, we don't know how that happened. And I'm sure that a lot of our enthusiasts, when it comes to weather patterns, when it comes to conspiracy theories and that, can jump on this one because no one ever figured this one out. This shout out goes out to Miss Kimberly. And I know you were down there in Miami with the Hurricane Katrina. And here we are again talking about Ida. And we'll have to look out again for the next season of hurricanes. But again, our shout out goes to all the veterans who stepped up to the plate and our military and our Coast Guard who are down there taking care of those people all the way up the way, starting in New Orleans and, of course, Florida, the Panhandle, and parts of Texas were devastated. We also want to say thank you out to all of those people who are helping get those people out of Afghanistan. I know we get a lot of controversy about what shouldn't have happened, what should have happened, but guess what? It happened. And we got out over 120,000 people. We don't know how many Americans were there. I don't know who will tell us the truth. But from my understanding, it's less than 10,000 actual Americans were there. And all of those who wanted to get out, got out. There are a few there who have for humanitarian reasons stayed and family reasons who stayed, but they're not in that subject matter. We got out those who needed to get out with only 13,000 losses. And I think that's pretty good. We don't want to go back and talk about Vietnam. But guess what? This happened a lot faster and a lot better. And we want to thank those who stood up and helped get those people out. Now, Operation Project Veterans, the front lines against fraud. We want all of our veterans to know that be careful of your phone calls, be careful of who you say yes to, and when you decide to make a decision, call us. Keith, the boss of the beach, and this is WVET onlineradio.com, and we will put you with some of our people that we know about who will vet that phone call, vet that letter, and vet that process. And of course, you can always call us out there at your veterans anywhere in the state. Of course, here it is at St. Pete Vet Center. If you're in Miami, it's the Miami Vet Center. And of course, if you're in Palm Beach or Jacksonville, it's a vet center there. Call them first, vet that phone call. And we say, why? because there are people out here trying to take advantage of everybody. Old people, veterans, education, know the enemy, pension, okay? Secret veteran benefits, update for life, VA loan scam, aid, and attendance scams. So look out for those, but especially don't be afraid to stop and ask them. Let me call you right back so that we can help you. Anybody who needs to know, just check it with AARP.org, Fraud Watching Network. Okay? Fraud Watch Network. Keep an eye open for that one because we are getting ready to do a lot more information on what's going on. And with all of our veterans returning, please be cognizant that they need a salute. Be cognizant to thank them for the time they spent out in the Mideast fighting that war. A lot of wars have come and gone. This one is just now finishing. And we know that in that area of the world, it's not going to be peace for a very long time. We're not the first ones who've gone in. We're not going to be the last. Those people have their way of a culture base that I understand now that a lot of different areas of the world are realizing that culture base is going to stay. So let them enjoy themselves as long as they don't want to infringe on ours. We won't infringe on theirs. Take the best of what we have and utilize it. It's called freedom and democracy. Guess what? I want you to know that there's plenty of freedom and democracy right over here, and we love it. We're grateful for it. We have our problems, but we have more solutions than problems. And that's a message from us right here. Of course, you're in tune. St. Pete Radio, Radio St. Pete Online. You'll love it. It's gotten better. It's gotten bigger. And I want you to come on downtown St. Pete this weekend and enjoy. Things are back open again. The theaters are open. The clubs are open. Downtown is open. Even the museums are open. So come on downtown St. Pete because they all stand up for veterans. Our program is called We Support Veterans Too. And guess what? Your business can say that as well. We support veterans too. So if you're downtown St. Pete hanging out, of course, we got baseball still going on. The stadium's wide open. And guess what? Fergs is still serving. Right across from the stadium and right downtown. We want to salute our new people down here at our police department right across here. And we have a lot of veterans who joined up. And I'm seeing a lot more lady police women. So you ladies who are out there getting in trouble, we got a woman who's going to chase you down. You men, be scared because they do know how to take care of themselves and you too if you're doing wrong. But we want to say St. Pete's one of the safest places in this country. And part of it is because we have so many of our good veterans who joined the police department and they have done well in covering all the bases that's necessary. We're going to be creating a little bit more information for you. But today's subject, again, was they protected us. Now it's our turn. And that one, of course, is about our veterans and watch out for fraud. Now it's our turn to protect our veterans from the scams. So we're all pitching in together. And of course, Keith, right here, Voice for Veterans is making sure that you know about this and that you stay in touch. Now, coming up, we're going to be talking about something that all of us are aware of, 9/11. And we have a subject, a walk through 9/11 Memorial and Museum. And I want you to know that we have a special segment coming up right after this to talk about National September 11th Memorial Museum and some information that they're going to offer about how it happened. Following in the next 2 or 3 weeks, you're going to be listening to Pray for Love. Pray for Love was recorded in Miami and in New York right after the 9/11 crisis by Dr. Alva Ferron and a whole team of people, Mike Brown and the rest of them, all the artists, Shinehead, Tinga Stewart, Freddie McGregor, Notch, Leona Hammond, Screwdriver, Mikey Spice, Chrissy Banton, Carl Rogers and Glenn Washington recorded a song called Pray for Love, and it was all about Jamaica for USA. So stay tuned. We're going to be talking more about that. But first, National September 11 Memorial Museum, a special presentation. Coming up right now.
I'm at the 9/11 Memorial Museum, and I'm joined by Cheyenne Hyde. Cheyenne, thanks so much for talking with us today.
Yeah, of course.
Can we go take a look around inside?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
9/11 is shorthand for Tuesday, September 11, 2001, when 19 hijackers affiliated with Al-Qaeda decided to hijack 4 commercial airline flights and use them as weapons against highly symbolic landmarks of American life. It just starts off like a normal day because it's the first day of school, it's the mayoral primaries, and about 2 billion people witness it live because you have internet, you have radio, and then TV who are now showing their viewers what's happening here.
2 airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack on our country.
So the first attack began at 8:46 a.m. when hijack Flight 11 struck the north face of the North Tower. At 9:03 a.m., hijack Flight 175 struck the south face of the South Tower. At 9:37 a.m., hijack Flight 77 struck the outer ring of the Pentagon, which is the headquarters for the U.S. military. And then at 10:03 a.m., hijack Flight United 93 was deliberately crashed into a field in Somerset County, Pennsylvania. Now that flight is kind of different because that flight was coming out of Newark, New Jersey, a very congested airport. They happened to be delayed about 45 minutes. Finally, when they're in the air, they realize that something is wrong. And then they realize that they were being hijacked. So from the airphones that are still on the planes in 2001, they call their loved ones and the authorities who are on ground, and they tell them what's happening, their situation on board. And as a result, their loved ones and the authorities are telling them what's happening here in New York City and also in Arlington, Virginia at the Pentagon. So those 40 brave men and women, they vote to stage a counterattack. They boil water in the back of the kitchenette area of the plane, and they use a food car as a battering ram to try to gain access into the cockpit. Now, once the 4 hijackers realized that they probably would not be making it to the intended target, which we now know was the Capitol building in Washington, D.C., where Congress was in full session that morning, they decided to crash that plane into an empty field.
So the other airplanes that were in the air were starting to hear about this, right?
Yes.
And for 1 Alpha Charlie, there's some sort of a problem going on out there on the East Coast that we need to know about?
Yeah, I'll keep you advised on that in a second. Amtrak 797, Cleveland.
Yep, but from hijack Flight 11, we had a flight attendant named Betty Ong who made a phone call during the hijacking to American Airline reservation agents in North Carolina, and 23 minutes she remains calm and professional as she's reporting about the situation on board the plane and also the identities of the 5 hijackers. And after that first phone call, really the FAA decided to ground all flights nationwide.
So after they grounded all the planes, what happened to all the people?
You have people who are stranded, really, people who can't get back from their vacations, really have no idea what's going on because for some of them, they were stuck on these planes for a number of hours, not maybe being able to get off, go find some hotel, but it wasn't until maybe a few hours later that they heard the news of what had just happened in New York City, and they probably now had an understanding of what their situation would be like.
So are there still effects from 9/11 being felt today?
Of course, we have the Transportation Security Administration, TSA. You have to be completely x-rayed, you have to be patted down. With carry-ons, you can't have huge amounts of liquid, you can't have weapons on board.
This has been an incredible experience, and it brings back to me where I was on 9/11. You know, I was teaching class full of 5th graders, and what that day was like. How do you talk to students about this day when they weren't around?
I encourage them to talk to their parents. Ask them what their experience was on September 11th. Ask questions. It's a hard thing to understand why anybody would do this, but it's important that we learn what happened on September 11th. And coming to the museum, we have visitors, kids, school groups who come who also weren't born before 9/11, and that is how they learn, really watching and reading. So do good research and really ask the questions that you feel are necessary to ask.
Thank you so much for
Thank
having
you
us here
so
today.
much for coming.
Well, thank you for that little interlude there. National September 11 Memorial Museum. Remember that story. You're going to hear a lot more about those different stories over the next few days up till September 11. By the way, you got to remember, it's been a lot of years, but the story hasn't gone anywhere. And don't forget, check out Pray for Love. You'll hear more about what really went on after 9/11. And after 9/11, we have a special presentation of the New York Tribune's story about after 9/11. Remember that 9/11 happened at a time when we all were at peace. Things were going on pretty good. The war hadn't started yet. We were still scraping with the bottom of the other areas of Iraq and Saudi Arabia was involved. Afghanistan was involved. Kuwait had already been hit. So we know that there was a lot going on, but most of it was peaceful. But 9/11 sparked a new age, and we're still in that age. We just ended the war, but ISIS raised its head again. And so we know the battle's not over. But this war is finished. There's still going to be battles, and we're going to continue to win. Our U.S. military, Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, and of course our Coast Guard stand next to none. We are the best. Of course, this is in the West, the Western Hemisphere. Stay tuned. We got a lot more to come, but next week we're going to be talking about something that I'm going to start on today. Health. When you look at all the things that have gone on in the world in the last few years, one thing we know, people are still getting old and they're still passing on. But the thing that has come up more, people have become more health conscious. And health consciousness is very important. What are some of the programs that are covered? Primary care, referrals to specific physicians, wellness and prevention services, behavioral screening, chronic disease management, cancer screening, pharmacy services, limited dental services, and laboratory services. Pinellas County Health Program, especially for our veterans. We want you to know, take care of yourself. Good nutrition, of course, prevents all of the problems that you think that you might have. Don't forget, eat correctly. Study the food habits. Understand what it means to eat correctly. Fruits, nuts, grains, vegetables. And of course, all the good things that come with nutrition. That means exercise. And when you get back to your quality of life, it always starts with good nutrition. I want you to know that nutrition means more than just food. It includes exercise, and it includes supplements. One thing we know is that there are a lot of vitamins, a lot of nutrients that you can get. And what we want you to do is study that. If you go to your health department, they have all kinds of diagrams and brochures about where to get the best food, where to get the best health products, where to get the best when it comes to understanding your healthy needs. The Pinellas County Health Program is a place where you can go for primary care under the medical services. The Pinellas County Health Program provides quality health care services and uncensored residence. That means you from age 18 to 64, you're eligible for Medicare, Medicaid, and public services assistance programs having an income below 100% of the federal poverty level. Perhaps you belong. And if you do belong, Find out where to go. Make today the beginning of a healthier you. Make just today, one day at a time, become healthy, become health conscious. For additional information, you can feel free to contact the Pinellas County Human Services. And of course, their locations are in Clearwater, St. Petersburg, Largo, and Tarpon Springs. Find one. Ask these questions. Say you heard it right here on Radio St. Pete. And of course, Keith, the boss of the beach, WVET, and this is Voice for Veterans. Pinellas County Health Program. You know, it does include exercise, and I'm trying to tell everybody, please get out and do a little walking. They've been claiming that the beaches haven't been that good with red tide, but from what it looks like to me, I was out at the beach the other day, and it seems like the red tide has kind of faded away. So go out there on the beach and take that good walk in the sand and walk in the edge of the water and make sure that you get that good exercise. If you can swim, of course, there's the why. There are plenty of swimming pools. And in Florida, we stay open pretty much all year long. Swimming pools are not closed like they are in a lot of cities up north. But right now in Florida, you got the beach and the pools. Get in, swim. It was told to me many years ago that there are 3 things on this earth that'll keep you healthy. Sunshine, that's vitamin D. Salt water, which absorbs all the sicknesses out of the body. And fresh air. Beaches, sand, palm trees. I think that we have the best of everything right here in Florida. And of course, we call it paradise down here. And for those who don't know what paradise is, believe me, it's got some beaches. It's got some palm trees. It's got plenty of sunshine, blue water, and probably we'll throw in a few bathing suits with that. And you have paradise. And of course, we want to thank you for tuning in, of course, to this radio station in Paradise. And remember that today we're talking about health. Take care of yourself. Like I said, good nutrition, preventative care, and a healthy lifestyle are an essential combination that contributes to improved overall health. Please take care of your health. It means a lot more than you think it does. And you'll find out as you get older how much it does mean. Some of the things, Social Security card and other forms of ID, are required when you come to the network. Please, birth certificate, employment records, Florida student ID, U.S. passport, valid driver's license, voter registration card, work ID or badge, mortgage or lease agreement. These are some of the things that will identify who you are and your eligibility and where you live and how much you can get. So don't forget, those areas that I just touched bases on, be sure that you have those available. Proof of Pinellas County residency is another one of the requirements. And for those who've lived here a long time, don't worry. But if you're new to the area, we need at least 3 months of information. Bank statements for the past 2 months. Employment record, vehicle registration or your title, school record, current paychecks or stub, rent receipt, and a current utility bill. If those things are over 2 months old, you're eligible. And that is, of course, for the health side of today's information. Now, you got to remember that on Sundays you can tune in to our regular scheduled program at WVETonlineradio.com. And that's with our guy Patrick, and that's our sports. Don't forget, tune in 11 o'clock on Sundays. That's WVETonlineradio.com. And listen for Patrick and sports. He's right here in the Tampa Bay area. He covers all the winnings that we have. And of course, we got the hottest teams in the country right now. And we want to stay with the hottest teams in the country and keep them hot. Guess what? Listen to Patrick. He'll bring you up to date on all of the information when it comes to that sports in this market. We know that it's important, so we tell you anything that keeps our camaraderie alive. And when you're dealing with veterans and military, we know that. But we share that with us, and we share that with everybody else so that you know The sports is one of those things that keeps camaraderie alive. Camaraderie right here in the area that we live in. And across the nation, you have the same thing, whether it's football, baseball, tennis, basketball. Those are areas where we as human beings get together and rally around a team. And we want to say that our team, of course, will always be our military and our policemen. When we talked about our veterans, I'm learning to involve a lot of our policemen because they're veterans as well. They're doing veteran things all the time. And we know that our local policemen, a lot of them started out as military. So we salute our policemen, whether it's state, city, county, all of them. We appreciate you, and we appreciate what you do. We appreciate our veterans. We appreciate our veterans at a time when they need to be appreciated. Again, I want to give a special shout out to all of our soldiers who are returning from Afghanistan. We thank you for what you've done. We thank you for your continued support. And we want to say we salute you in a big, big, big way. And this year, when Veterans Day comes up, we want to see a lot of our new young veterans out there in the front lines from Afghanistan. Wear your badges proudly and stand tall. We know what you did in Afghanistan, and we appreciate all that you stood up for. And the fact that no one has to know all the ins and outs of a war. What we do know is that our soldiers came home. Those who lost their lives, we appreciate them, and their friends and comrades never will forget. And we as Americans will never forget either. So it's September, and we only have a few days till September 11th. Be humble. Remember that day. And be careful that we don't bump into the same old problems again. We learned a lot. We gained a lot. And we want to thank you for tuning in. And don't forget, on Saturday at 12:30, we'll be right back here. And of course, that's 96.7 FM, and that's Sunshine Radio. You know it's the best because we bring the rest. Stay tuned for more to come next week. And we want to thank you again for tuning in. Don't forget, salute an Afghanistan soldier wherever you can. Many blessings. Over and out. Enjoy this song.
I'm in tears, begging God to take me out of here. My life feels hopeless. I can't seem to win a thing. My dreams turn to nightmares every single night. I'm honest and loving, so why I'm being judged? Why do we fear death? We can't control. Death should be easy, it's life. I'm afraid of so. Think of the people that die every day. 9/11 felt like the end of the days. End of the days. End of the days. The fire was burning, smoke was so black. People inside not knowing how to act as they sat there glued to this TV screen. People were jumping, I heard every scream. More I watched, more I cried, wondering how many died, how many survived. Were you there? Did you feel the impact of the plane? Did you smell the smoke and vapor in the air? End of the days. End of the days. End of the
Tune in again 24/7. WVET onlineradio.com.